Wanted to share with you my search for the right van for me for my no-build camper van and why I chose the van I chose. So I've been looking for probably, I don't know, maybe a year or so, and maybe a little less, to be honest. I didn't really look at first, like at any test drive any or anything, but once I started, the first one that I did test drive was a Promaster, and it was already converted, and it was about $42,000, quite expensive. I really did like it though, just had some kind of title issue going on, and there was also something I will say that I experienced when I drove it, is that the seat does not adjust, so you can't lower it. So it didn't really make for driving the most comfortable, because you feel like you're like dangling your legs somehow and you can't lower the seat to the right place really. Okay, so the second vehicle that I test drove was the NV200, which was like, it seemed like the right size for me, like for a camper van conversion. I thought it would be pretty neat. I test drove it at the dealership. They were only about 24,000 brand new roughly, which is a pretty good deal for a brand new vehicle, and it would have been super clean because it was brand new, and I was quite happy with that, and it had a really good warranty on it. I think it went up to like 100,000 miles. So I test drove it pretty slow, and there was this brake pedal, like this tiny brake pedal, which I felt like my foot was slipping off all the time, which sounds weird. I've never even considered thinking about a brake pedal before in my life, but this particular vehicle has a tiny brake pedal. So I test drove this vehicle a couple of times. Not this particular one, I went to a different dealership and test drove it again just to be sure, and I decided no, there's no power. The wheels are a little bit small, so I felt like on some of the hikes that I go on are very bumpy roads that it wasn't the best vehicle for me, although I think it is a pretty good deal for the vehicle, for a no build van build type situation. So it is something that I would look into if I were you and looking for a cheaper vehicle. Okay, so I moved on from the NV200, then I decided to test drive a Ford Transit Connect, which I absolutely liked actually. There was one that I found for $18,000 and it only had about 35,000 miles on it, and it wasn't very old, a few years old, but it was kind of beat up because it was a work truck and somebody smoked in it, so it kind of put me off. So I test drove that one a couple of times. I keep doing it a couple of times, I don't know, just to be sure, because I just felt like it was a downgrade from my Subaru Outback and it was irritating me a bit. So I didn't like that particular one, but I had it in my mind to get a Ford Transit Connect. So after that I test drove a Ford Transit 150, which I actually liked driving and I liked the space it had. But this particular one had 70,000 miles on it, so I kind of opted against it because I felt like that was a bit too much mileage. And I don't think I have a picture of that one, but I did some side-by-side comparisons of how much space it had compared to the Transit Connect, and I'll show you some pictures of those. So it has quite a lot of room. You could actually have a double bed in there, which would work if you wanted two people to be travelling. So that's quite nice actually, to have a little bit of a bigger van for the space for different things that you might need. But if it's just a weekend traveller, maybe the Connect is still more fun to drive anyway. So, and it's a lot cheaper, so I don't know, I think I still like it, to be honest. I ended up test driving a Promaster City, which I didn't even like. I knew I didn't like that when I test drove it. It was just that was probably the worst one I drove, to be honest. And there was a few other vehicles that I test drove. I'll show you some photos of those. Okay, so this takes me to the vehicle that I had not even considered. So I found a Mercedes Metris 2017 with 38,000 miles on it for $24,000, and it's amazing. I loved it. As soon as I went in it, it was bigger, more roomy, for me and my dog, which, you know, you need a little bit more room when you have a dog. So I loved it as soon as I got in there. It was clean. The person that owned it before that, he was an artist, so he didn't even use it as a work truck, which was amazing. It didn't have any windows in the back, which that is something that I didn't want. I didn't want windows. I just wanted the front to be able to close off, and then I can just have a stealth camper if I needed it to be stealth. Or I just don't have any windows and the condensation is going to be less. So I will show you some pictures of it, and it is amazing, and I'll show you the dimensions and everything so you can decide if you want one for yourself. It was only, like I said, I was able to trade in my Subaru Outback. Well, I sold that actually, but it was almost this, it was like a swap. So my Subaru was, I sold for the same price as I bought this one for. So I'm really pretty much got a camper van for nothing, because it's an everyday driver size, so I don't have to worry. And the other day, no kidding you, I got 31 miles per gallon on my trip, so I will show you that too. Thanks for watching.